Okay, so now we are on the topic 7.4 RCNNs, faster RCNNs, and fast RCNNs and faster RCNNs. And this is will be the overview of this RCNNs family of models. Okay, so now that we are on the um, we're now on this new lesson regarding to one of the earliest deep learning breakthroughs um, in object detection, the RCNN, which stands for region-based convolutional neural networks. So let me write it down. It's all about this one is regions or region-based convolutional neural networks. First off, don't confuse with the RNNs. So, RNNs are recurrent neural networks. RNNs used for sequence data like text or time series. So, RCNNs are completely different architecture and were a game changer in computer vision. So, what exactly are CNNs? So, RCNNs introduced in 2014 by the researchers of the UC Berkeley. The RCNNs was one of the first deep learning based object detection methods. So it significantly outperformed traditional computer vision techniques on benchmarks like um, the Pascal VOC challenge, which was the standard evaluation data set before COCO became popular. So, well, here's how RCNN works in a simplified form. So, it uses, um, let me remove this one. So, it uses a method like selective search to propose region candidates in the areas that may contain objects. Then for each of these regions, so it runs a CNN extract to extract the features. Then those features are then passed to a classifier like SVM to label the object and a regressor to refine the bounding box. But this will be we will tackle this one later on for this it is just like a simplified discussion on how the RCNNs work. So RCNNs was revolutionary at that time because it combined the region proposals with deep learning, giving much better accuracy than the traditional um, sliding window method that we already tackled last time. No? So, okay, this is the um, one of the examples of RCNN. So it could detect multiple objects like people, dogs, a horse, and a car, all accurately boxed and labeled. So while newer models like the faster RCNN and YOLO have improved upon its speed. So RCNN laid the foundation of for how we approach deep learning in object detection today. Okay, so this that's where um the what we call the selective search algorithm comes in, what I've discussed recently. This algorithm scans the image and um, propose around uh, 2,000 candidate regions, also called region proposals that might contain objects. So let me walk through with these steps, no? So we have the input image. So the model starts with a regular image. Then we will extract region proposals by using the selective search generates around 2000, no? 2000 potential regions. Then, then the next step would be compute CNN features. So each of these regions is resized and passed through a CNN. Example here, like AlexNet to extract features. And lastly, it will classify those regions. So these features are then classified using traditional classifier like SVM to determine if a region contains a person, a dog, a car, or etc. So this approach was groundbreaking for its time because it introduced deep learning into object detection and move away from brute force scanning. However, it still had some drawbacks, especially in terms of speed, which which future models like Fast RCNN and YOLO were designed to improve. But RCNN laid the foundation, and understanding this process helps us appreciate how far detection models have in have evolved. Let's now focus on a key part of how RCNNs work. The process of generating region proposals using an algorithm called selective search. Remember, one of the biggest challenges in an object detection is figuring out where in the image to look for objects. So we can't just rely on brute force scanning. It's too slow and inefficient. So selective search offers a smart alternative. Instead of checking every possible region, it tries to segment the image into regions that are visually similar in color, texture, size, and shape. Then it proposes those segments as a possible object locations. In simple terms, it groups pixels that are similar to each other, then gradually merges those um, those groups to form potential objects or potential object-like regions. Finally, it outputs bounding boxes, as you can see here, no, around this group of areas, which can then pass to the CNN for classification. Okay, so as you can see here, you can see different scales of segmentations, capture objects like the sheep here in a pasture. So in this image also here, you notice that many um, many overlapping boxes are proposed, especially when objects are close together or occluded, like the girl, no? Like the girl behind the TV, which is this one, as you can see here. This is why non-maximum suppression, from well, we already tackled it earlier, becomes crucial after this step to reduce redundant boxes. So selective search was a clever way to drastically reduce the number of regions that are that the CNN had to process down to um, 2,000 per image, which was a huge improvement over the sliding windows. So while it's not perfect, selective search enabled the first generation of deep learning or deep learning detectors like the RCNN to be both accurate and relatively efficient. So now that we have discussed how selective search proposes region, so let's continue with what happens next in the RCNN pipeline. On selective search, um, one selective search identifies potential regions, usually around 2,000 per image. So these are then passed into a convolutional neural network. So a common choice here is you can choose like a pre-trained network like AlexNet or BGG in this case, often trained on ImageNet. But there's something important to understand. No? So we don't use the CNN directly for classify these regions. Instead, the CNN acts as a feature extractor. It processes each region proposals and outputs a feature selector or picture vector. Essentially, a numeric summary of what's inside the box. So from there, instead of letting the CNN decide what object is, our CNN passes those feature vectors into a support vector machine, in this case, no, for the final classification. And then, so for each region, the SVM or the support vector machine will decides is it a person, is it a car, or is it a monitor, etc. So this modular approach, combining region proposals, deep feature extraction, and then traditional classification using SVM, so was what made RCNN so powerful for its time, even if it was computationally expensive. Okay, so now that we've covered how RCNN classifies region proposals, so there's one final piece of puzzle is defining the bounding box. So after the um, after the selective search generates a region, and the CNN classifies it using features. So we don't stop there, no? Often the initial box doesn't perfectly align with the object. It might be too loose or slightly off center. To solve this, RCNN includes a final step. It is called bounding box regression. So let me write it here. So it is bounding box regression. So this is a simple linear regression model that takes the CNN features here and predicts judgment to the bounding box. So these adjustments make the bounding box tighter and more accurate, ensuring it hugs the object as closely as possible. So you think of it as a fine tuning step. Classification tells us what is the region, and the regression adjusts where the box should precisely be. As you as you s- as you can see in this diagram, so in this is the regularization or the regression step happens after classification, and it's crucial it is crucial for improving the localization accuracy. So this combination and the region proposals plus the CNN feature extraction plus the SVM, and finally after this one is the bounding box regression, is what made RCNN such a powerful early object detection model. So, however, it's also why was so slow. For each of those 2,000 regions was passed individually through a CNN and then to separate classifiers and regressors. This inefficiency is exactly what later models like faster RCNN and fast RCNN improved. Oops, let me. Okay. Now that we've seen how RCNN works, it's clear it was a breakthrough, but not without major problems. Although RCNN was state of the art in 2014, it was also notoriously slow because um, every image, RCNN would generate 2,000 region proposals, and then it had to pass each region individually through a CNN for feature extraction, and then classifies each of one using a separate SVM. Then the box, then the box will be refined using the linear regression or the linear regressor. So this meant that three different models had to be trained and used per proposal. A CNN for features, an SVM for classification, and a regressor for adjustment. As you can um, as you can imagine, this made real-time object detection practically impossible. So it could take minutes per image, even on powerful hardware. That's why in 2015, this model dramatically um, dramatically speed things up by extracting the CNN once the whole image is once once on the whole image rather than for every proposal, and then extracting features just once and then using region proposals. Later on, we can discover these steps, no, in if we will tackle about fast RCNN and other other derivatives of this model. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now let's talk about what made fast RCNN such a major improvement over the original RCNN. Instead of passing each region proposals individually through a CNN, fast RCNN only runs the CNN once per image. That's a huge change. The key idea here is something called the region proposal or the region of interest pooling or ROI pooling or ROI pool. So ROI pooling is somewhat a fast RCNN's special feature. Here's how it works. The um, the entire image is passed. Let me draw it here. So the entire image, let's say this one, is passed once in a CNN model to get the features or the feature to get the feature map. Then instead of feeding raw image patches into the CNN for every region proposal, so we extract features for each proposal directly from the feature map using uh, the ROI pooling. So ROI pooling allow essentially crops the region from the feature map and resizes it into a fixed shape so that it can be fed into the next layer for classification and also the bounding box regression. Okay? So, well, we will tackle this in the next slide, no, for this case so that we could visually understand how fast RCNNs work. Okay? So, all right, so let's now talk about why fast RCNN was such a leap forward, not just in architecture, but in performance and practicality. So one of the key improvements is in training time. Unlike the RCNN, which needed three separate models, a CNN for feature extractor, an SBM for classification, and a regressor for bounding box adjustment. So fast RCNN combined everything into a single unified model. So here's how. Um, Instead of SBM, so fast RCNN uses a softmax layer directly on the top of the CNN to classify objects. For bounding box adjustments, it replaces the separate linear regressor with a regression head inside the CNN. So in parallel with the classifier. The entire model is trained end to end, meaning it learns the best features, classification, and bounding box and other refinements simultaneously. So as you can see here, the training time for RCNN is took 84 hours. So fast RCNN reduced this to just 8.75 hours. And for testing time, so in seconds, and it is in seconds per image. So RCNN took 47 to 49 seconds, while fast RCNN dropped that to as low as 0.32 seconds in this case, somewhat 0.32 to 2.3 seconds. So this was a game changer. For the first time, we could start thinking about real time or near real time object detection in practical applications. So, well, in this diagram here, so this is a simplified um, diagram in model for the RCNN. So, well, no more passing each regional proposal through the CNN. Now we just extract the feature map once and use R pooling to pull out features for each proposed region. So everything here, the classification and bounding box simulation happens inside in one network. So fast RCNN made other detection like faster, simpler, and more accurate. But there was still one bottleneck left. The selective search was still used for proposing regions. So, well, that led to the next innovation, faster RCNN, which got rid of the external region proposals altogether by learning that step within the network itself. So far, we've seen how fast RCNN made object detection faster and more efficient by combining multiple models into a single end-to-end architecture. However, there are still one big bottleneck left, and that was selective search. Even though we reduced the test time from 49 seconds in RCNN to around 2.3 or 2.3 seconds in fast RCNN, a large portion of that time was still being spent generally or spent in generating region proposals using selective search. So this method is not learnable, not optimized, and still relatively slow. So as you can see here in the chart, we see that RCNN at the top with 49 seconds test time. And we have the CPP net with 4.3 seconds and fast RCNN with 2.3 seconds. But faster RCNN, as you can see at the bottom, drops it to just zero point 0.2 seconds. So how did they achieve that? A team at Microsoft Research realized that if selective search was the bottleneck, the solution was to replace it with a learnable component. Well, it is inside the neural network itself. And that's how they came up with the idea of the Region Proposal Network or RPN. Later on, we can discuss this one in the next slide. So next, now that we've seen how fast RCNN improved classification and bounding box or the bounding box prediction, the next big leap came with faster RCNN, and it all boiled down to this key idea that why rely on selective search, which is um, which is slow and separate from the model when we already have a feature map from our CNN. So the creators of the faster RCNN ask a smart question. What if we reuse the feature maps already generated by the CNN to also propose the region? This clever shift led to the introduction of the Regional Proposal Network, or RPN. So if you look at the diagram, the CNN takes the input image and extract feature maps. Instead of using selective search, those same features or same feature maps are passed to the RPN, which predicts the object proposals. Then, proposals are then pulled via ROI pooling and passed to the the classifier and the bounding box regressor. So by integrating region proposal into the neural network, so we now have an end-to-end learnable and much faster object detection system. And that was the key insight that made faster RCNN not just faster, but also more accurate and scalable. Okay, so now let's talk about how faster RCNNs generate region proposals using deep learning. So faster RCNNs introduce a component called Region Proposal Network, or the RPN. So this is a small, fully convolutional network that is added on the top of the feature CNN feature extractor, or the CNN feature maps here. Instead of using selective search, the RPN slides a small window over the feature map created by the CNN. At each at each window location, the RPN predicts a confidence score. Instead, is there an object here or not, and a bounding box, or the bounding box coordinates for each predefined anchor. So what does it means, no? Um, Anchors are predefined, predefined bounding boxes of different scales and aspect ratios. For example, at each location, we might predict let's say nine different boxes. So it will be three scales times three aspect ratios. So we will tackle that later. So if we have a number of or k anchors, the network will output 4,000 or 4k bounding boxes or bounding box coordinates, and the key scores per location. So this means that the RPN is dense, fast, and tightly coupled with the CNN. It replaces traditional region proposal algorithms, making the whole process trainable end to end. So after every sliding window pass, the model gives us a K candidate, or the K potential bounding boxes, which scores saying how confident it is that an object exists in each box. So that's how faster our CNNs became not just faster, but also more accurate by integrating region proposal directly into the network pipeline. Okay, so now we are now on the single shot detectors, and we will explore how uh, this type of object detectors um, created and what will be the edge of this among the other object detectors. Okay, so now we've explored the RCNN family, which has made major contributions to object detection accuracy. Let's address the main limitation, which is the speed. Even with improvements like the faster RCNN, so these models typically run at only 7 frames per second, even on a powerful GPU. Well, why? Because RCNNs are two-stage detectors. So it is a two-stage detectors. First, they generate region proposals, and then they classify them. So this is where single-shot detectors or SSDs comes in. SSDs eliminate the separate region proposals, s- that is the major step, no, altogether. Instead, they treat object detection as a single stage task. So that should be detection and classification are done simultaneously if it is a one forward pass of the network, no, or the single shot. So this makes SSDs significantly faster. For example, what we have here is we have SSD 300. It runs at 46 frames per second, making it viable for real-time applications while still achieving a higher mean average precision or MAP. So as you can see, this is just the model, no, the design, and we have SSD 5112, which is using BGG16, no, in this case. So what we have here is we have 79.8 MAP and at a slight cost to its speed, no, which has as you can see we have versus so you can see the frame rate is 19, and compare that to the faster RCNN with 73.2 MAP but only 7 frames per second. So these results show that SSDs strike a strong balance between speed and accuracy, making them ideal for practical deployment, especially in real-time systems like surveillance, robotics, or mobile devices. So let's now take a closer look at how SSDs make predictions. Specific, specifically, how they discretize feature maps. SSDs use a feature map from a convolutional layer. For example, let's say we have BGG16 conv4 three layer and divide it into a grid of cells. So each of these cells is responsible for predicting a fixed number of potential object detection, typically 4 to 6 per cell. So each prediction includes class scores, so what object is in the cell, and an extra score for no object in this case, and as well as a bounding box offsets for localization. So when here is the key idea here. So the fewer cells, if coarser the feature map, can can better detect larger objects as they are covered as they covered a broader spatial area. On the other hand, a greater number of cells, finer feature maps are better and at detecting small or smaller objects as they provide more precise location. So this concept is well illustrated in this image here that the dog is detected using a larger um this case no the larger scale or larger cell grid, which is this red box here, and the cat is being smaller is detected using finer grained cell with this, which is this blue box. By using multiple feature maps at different scales, SSDs are able to balance speed and accuracy, especially across varying object sizes. Oops. Okay, so in this part of the SSD architecture, so we're using a backbone CNN in this case. We use BGG16 to extract useful feature maps from the input image. So this feature map serves as the foundation for making object predictions. Now, here's how it works for each bounding box generated by the model. So the network calculates the probability scores of, of all the possible classes. This includes an extra class to represent no object. That's it. That is why that is what we discussed recently, which helps eliminate false positives. So the advantage of this approach is that it enables overlapping predictions. So even if multiple objects appear close together or within the same region, the SSD model can still detect them individually. So looking at this diagram here, so you will notice that there is a multiple bounding box around this one, example for this dog. No? So it has multiple bounding boxes, and some of them are overlap. So that's completely intentional. It gives the model a chance to pick the best box later during non-max suppression or the NMS. So these overlapping predictions or this is a kind of strategy powered by feature maps from the BGG16 makes SSD both fast and flexible in detecting objects of varying size and positions. In single shot detectors like SSD, uh, we make multiple predictions per feature map or per feature map cells. So this means several bounding box and confidence scores for each possible object. So this approach is called multi-box or multi-box. So now let's talk about how we train the model to improve those predictions. So SSD uses two key loss functions, and this one is the class prediction loss. So this uses a categorical cross entropy to evaluate how accurate the model or how accurate the model is in predicting the correct class label for each bounding box. So if the model thinks a region is a cat, but it's actually a dog, this loss increase. For localization loss, also known as the smooth L1 loss, so this handles how well how well the predicted bounding box matches the ground truth. So the key point here is that SSD only penalizes errors for positive matches, meaning the boxes that actually overlap with the real objects, it ignores negative matches like boxes on background, which helps the model focus on what matters. So this two-part loss function, the confidence or the classification plus localization, is crucial for teaching the SSD model not just in the image, but also exactly where it is. And that's how SSD learns to make accurate and efficient object detection. Okay, so in this chart, provides a great visual comparison of object detection. And and it's based on two key metrics. We have the overall MAP or the mean average precision. So in and the other one is the GPU time or the inference speed. As we can see here, the SSD or the SSD models highlighted here strikes a really strong balance. So they may not always hit the absolute highest MAP, though as you can see, this the diamond. So let's try to check. Um, this one is an hybrid model, no? SSD with Inception V2, and the other one is SSD with MobileNet. So this one is the classification model. So this one is the other classification model. So obviously, versus MobileNet versus Inception, Inception V2 is more more accurate, no, or more good compared to this one. But as you can see here, if you try to use a single shot detector plus Inception V2, so the MAP is somewhat around this one and with less inference time. So that is why we say that it is a real strong balance between accuracy and speed. So, okay, what else? If you look closer to other models like, let's say, YOLO, they say this is YOLO V2 here. Although it is fast, its accuracy is generally lower than the SSD with the modern backbone Inception V2. So SSD really occupies a sweet spot between performance and precision. So the takeaway from this chart is that SSD is not the most accurate, but it offers one of the best trade-offs between speed and accuracy, especially when computational resources are limited. So if you want to use this type of models, so models with the balance with SSD and the balance of speed and accuracy, so you can use these models like SSD MobileNet so that you can use it in on mobile phones. And there are other versions on YOLO that can be used to mobiles, like a version of YOLO, let's say YOLO V8 Nano version. Well, you can learn it later on, no, with regards to YOLO family topic. Okay. So, well, to summarize everything we've discussed so far, first, SSDs or single shot detectors are known for being fast than the faster RCNN. However, this speed comes with a trade-off. So they are less accurate when it comes to detecting small objects. But we can improve that by increasing the number of default boxes and designing better anchor boxes. And next is SSD leverage the multi-scale feature maps, which means they can detect objects on various sizes or scales, no, more effectively. So this is one reason why SSDs are faster than YOLO V2 while maintaining accuracy that is closer to faster RCNN. So SSDs work by predicting both the category of an object and the bounding box or the bounding box offsets for its location. So they do this using a small convolutional filters applied across feature maps at different scales. One important one important detail during training is that the SSDs requires a fixed set of outputs or specific outputs, meaning ground truth objects and must be matched to a specific set of default boxes. To s- to put it simply, compared to YOLO, SSDs are bit slower but more accurate, and compared to faster RCNN, SSDs are faster but less accurate. So depending on your task, whether it's real-time performance or high precision detection, you choose the right model based on this balance.